I don't like when someone gets by just because they're famous and they have this big personality and everybody loves them. The problem with that is people are going to be rooting against him now in the next fight. And so now he's going to go in there against someone, and maybe he's going to go in against someone who's on another level.
They talk so much. They act like they invented the sport. They talk, and at the end of the day, they do what they...
Then, the UFC world is on fire right now. Joe Rogan has stepped right into the chaos after Ilia Topuria and Khabib's team clashed at an airport. Joe called it a straight-up war and said the UFC needs to book it immediately. At the same time, Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier's old feud is back on fire. Cormier recently said he'd kill Jones if he had the chance, and Jones snapped back in the harshest way. Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje is threatening to leave the sport over being denied a title shot, and Paddy Pimblett is getting publicly shut down by top contenders who don't want anything.
Justin Gaethje doubles down. He says it's title or bust.
You haven't mentioned the name Paddy, and I think I'd probably understand why. I mean,
no, absolutely. I mean, absolutely not. I mean, if that's
do with him. So Jon Jones reignited the heat with Daniel Cormier by calling himself the most painful thing to ever happen in Cormier's life. This came after Cormier, during a UFC broadcast, said that if he had another chance, he would have gone to Jones's house and killed him. Jones replied on social media saying, "A blind man can see the mansion I own in Daniel's head. I didn't realize how deep his hate still runs. Those whippings must have left more than bruises. I feel like I'm the most painful thing that's ever happened to that man's life. Emotional damage." Cormier wasn't going to stay quiet on it.
Beef between Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones will never end, it seems. You know what I mean? Daniel Cormier says he just is really not the smartest person. During a segment on the UFC 318 weigh-in show, Cormier was asked about where he would like to fight his enemy if he could, and the former two-division champ said he'd like to do it at his house because I kinda want the ability to end him. Jones, in a pair of deleted tweets, responded
to that. He clapped back on YouTube, saying how messed up Jones's comment was. Cormier reminded everyone that he lost his daughter in a tragic car crash back in 2003. You can't say you're the most painful thing in someone's life when they've lost a child. That's the craziest thing in the world, he said. He added, "You say I'm the most painful thing when I've lost a child and my father was murdered?" He knows that. That's how you know you're dealing with a different kind of person. Cormier made it clear. Jones said that stuff knowing full well what Cormier
said. I wanted to kill him at my house. Those assholes must have left more than bruises. I feel like I'm the most painful thing that ever happened to that man's life. Emotional damage. Okay, lot to unpack there. I do a job. I can't omit that. No, actually, because of our history, people want my take on what's happening with Jon Jones more than anybody. But we can't fight, so it's like, why would I let you occupy space in my head? Only an insecure person would go, immediately, he's
been through. He brought it up again, saying it's no secret what he's gone through. Losing his daughter and father shaped who he is. Then he took aim at Jones's intelligence. He just really isn't the smartest person, Cormier said. He pointed out how Jones ruined his own legacy with failed drug tests and robbed Cormier of closure. They fought twice. Jones won both times, but the second win was overturned because he tested positive for turinabol. That ruined everything for Cormier.
I didn't say his name. I'm only talking about what is the news now, and also how stupid he is. But that's Jon Jones that thinks about me. He's still trying to fight me. When I'm retired, they got a dude that wants to fight him and literally begging him to fight. And somebody tell Jon Jones, get off my page.
That loss still haunts Cormier, not because he couldn't handle losing, but because he doesn't believe Jones beat him fairly. That's why it hurts even more when Jones uses that rivalry to poke at him. Some in the UFC community think Jones went too far. Like he was saying he affected Cormier more than losing his daughter or his father. That's not just trash talk, that's hitting someone where it hurts the most. Many fans see it as completely out.
Deep his hate still runs. Those ass whoopings must have left more than bruises. I feel like I'm the most painful thing that ever happened to that man's life. Emotional damage. But if I was DC and I got beaten twice, dreams ripped away
of line, but Jones always pushes the line. He's brought up Cormier's emotions and past before, but this time it hit differently. Cormier made it clear, you cannot say I'm the most painful thing. But again, as he put it, he's dealing with someone who just isn't normal. Now, moving on to Justin Gaethje, he might actually quit the sport if he doesn't get a title.
Justin Gaethje doubles down. He says it's title or bust.
You haven't mentioned the name Paddy, and I think I'd probably understand why. I mean,
no, absolutely. I mean, absolutely not. I mean, if that's the route that they want me to take, then I don't believe that they they need me anymore.
Will he retire? Is this the end? Will he fight on the White House card? Who knows what's going to happen with Justin Gaethje and
shot. Gaethje's manager Ali Abdelaziz told Submission Radio that Gaethje is really thinking about retiring if the UFC doesn't give him a lightweight title fight. He said, if anyone says he doesn't deserve it, Gaethje's done. He said he'd hang up his gloves. He added, I love the UFC, but they need to love me back. Right now, I don't feel that.
Who do you think could be next for Justin Gaethje?
Justin Gaethje fight the winner. He won 3 of his last 4. He saved the UFC 2 times. They needed him, and he's there. The guy did so much for the sport. And if anyone said he doesn't deserve it, and he said, I'm not going to fight for the title, I'm just going to hang up my gloves.
Really? So if he doesn't get a title shot, that could be it? We might not see Justin Gaethje again?
Yeah, Jean is a very principled guy, and
love. Gaethje truly believes he earned that title shot. He beat Rafael Fiziev and then Dustin Poirier in 2023, big wins. That KO over Poirier even earned him the BMF belt. After that, fans and analysts thought he was next, but then came the Max Holloway fight. Holloway, who moved up from featherweight, knocked Gaethje out in the last second of the fight. Brutal. One of the scariest knockouts in...
owe him a favor for him stepping in for UFC 300. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Listen, everybody has, their opinions on. Listen, if you're thinking about retiring, you know how I feel about that. You should probably retire. We love Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje did step up, and he's been an exciting, fun fighter to have here in the UFC. But to say, hey, listen, unless you give me a title shot, I'm retiring. That's pretty.
Years. That loss wrecked Gaethje's momentum. He went off the radar for nearly a year. When he returned in March, he fought Rafael Fiziev again. But this time, Fiziev wasn't the same. He took the fight on short notice, hadn't fought in over a year, and had lost twice already. Beating that version of Fiziev didn't mean much. Meanwhile, Charles Oliveira jumped ahead and is now going to fight Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title at UFC 317. Gaethje feels completely left behind. But many think the UFC made the right call. He's 0-2 in undisputed title fights. He got finished by both Khabib and Oliveira. Yeah, the BMF title was fun, but it didn't prove he's championship material. And the Holloway fight made a harsh statement. He might be past his prime. A smaller guy moved up and beat him in every...
He's been saying retirement or title shot. He talked about how the UFC begged him to fight Max. I think any smart fan at the time knew that whoever won that fight or lost that fight was going to get a title shot and then lose a title shot. Justin seems very bitter about the Max fight because he comes back, he beats Fiziev, he looks good doing it. But it's like, bro, Arman is going to fight Ilia. I've been very vocal about Arman having another fight before a title shot, but that's most likely what's going to happen. And the fact...
Now Gaethje's trying to climb back up, but the division has moved on. Topuria is undefeated and has all the hype. Oliveira already beat Gaethje and is still in top shape. Gaethje, on the other hand, has been fighting older, less dangerous opponents. He hasn't stacked up real wins against top guys since 2023. Fans remember the war with Poirier, but they also remember Gaethje getting dropped, tapped, or carried out. Michael Bisping even said, even if Gaethje never becomes a champion, I think he'll still make the UFC Hall of Fame one day because of what he's given to the sport, his heart, the performances, and that true fighter's...
So, I mean, the statement, the direct quote was, once I know that I cannot win undisputed championship belt or fight for one, then I'm going to, I might as well hang up the gloves. I do not believe I've reached that point. Whether I'm the champion or not in the next... Who knows? I can't. It's so hard to put a time. If I ever go to sleep, I can just put to sleep. I'm done. I'm not doing it 2 more times. I'll do that 1 more time.
Where they're at in their careers. So basically,
okay,
I still edge Khabib.
This is what we. But Khabib 29-0, Ilia 17. If Ilia keeps this up for 2, 3, 4, 5 more fights, he leaves him in his dust. Agreed?
Certainly agreed. Because the early UFC fights for Khabib were not against upper level echelon fighters, and from here on, Ilia Topuria is only going to be fighting upper echelon.
And they will almost all be title fights.
And they will be.
My real goal always was Islam, but since he decided to run away, it has to be Charles. But with me coming up, he was like, I don't have to take this risk. I'm gonna move up to the 170. I'm gonna try to get another belt, and that's all, because he knows that I'm dangerous. He knows that I'm gonna put him to sleep. Even Khabib.
Spirit, and honestly, that's fair. Gaethje has always brought violence, pressure, and unforgettable fights, but title shots aren't just about entertaining fans. You have to win when it counts. He had his chances and couldn't seal the deal. Some believe the UFC has every right to move on, and if Gaethje doesn't like it, maybe stepping away really is the right move. But what do you think? Is he really going to walk away, or is this just a threat? Now let's get back to Joe Rogan. He's reacted to the whole Ilia Topuria versus Islam drama that started after the airport incident with Khabib's team. Rogan says this kind of bad blood, this kind of raw emotion is exactly what the UFC needs to jump on now. Talking about the tension, Rogan called Ilia Topuria a killer. He said Ilia isn't afraid of anyone, not Khabib, not Islam. He's not trying to play humble. He's here to make big statements, and that's exactly what he did. It all began when Topuria got into a fiery argument with some members of Khabib's team at an airport, and it didn't stop at words. Reports say punches were thrown, and one of Khabib's teammates got knocked out by Topuria himself. There's no full video yet, but people at the scene posted what they saw online. The story spread fast. Right after Khabib posted on Telegram saying, "Respect and honor mean nothing to this guy. You don't hit people at the airport. You want to fight? Do it in the cage." That message was clearly aimed at Topuria, but he didn't back down. He posted a photo from the gym and captioned it, "I don't fight for respect. I fight because I can't stand fake legends." He made it clear he wants Islam Makhachev next, and he's not waiting behind anyone like Arman Tsarukyan. Joe Rogan responded right after Khabib's post. He said the UFC has to move fast. This is the kind of real emotion and real beef that sells tickets. You can't fake this stuff. He said Topuria is the real deal. Khabib knows it. Islam knows it. Topuria doesn't talk a lot of trash, but when he does, it cuts deep. Rogan also reminded fans that Topuria has knockout power in both hands and isn't afraid to use it. And now he's calling out the champ. He believes Topuria has a real shot at winning. Some fighters reacted too. Bilal Muhammad tweeted, "That airport story wild LOL, but that's what happens when real ones run into each other." Dustin Poirier also chimed in saying, "Topuria got fire, but he better come correct if it's Islam." Sean O'Malley spoke on Twitch and said, "Ilia's a gangster. He's not trying to play nice with anyone." Islam Makhachev hasn't responded directly but did post a cryptic tweet, "All talk outside the cage. Inside, different world." Khabib's cousin Umar Nurmagomedov tweeted, "Ilia is not ready. He thinks he is, but Islam will teach him a lesson." Now it's unclear if the UFC will actually book Topuria versus Islam or give the shot to someone else first. But what's your take? Should this fight happen next? Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett is running out of options. He wants to return in October, maybe at the Abu Dhabi card, but two top lightweights, Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker, already said no to fighting him. Gaethje was the first to shut it down. Talking to ESPN, he said, "Absolutely not. If that's the route they want me to take, then they don't need me anymore." He said he's ranked number 3, has won 3 of his last 4 fights, and should be going for the title. "The champ was calling me out and vacated. Now they bring in a new guy and give it to someone else?" He was clearly talking about Oliveira getting the Topuria fight. Gaethje said if the UFC is just trying to feed him to a lower-ranked guy to build a name, he's not interested. "If they just want to use me until I get beat, I need to really think about what I'm doing here." Dan Hooker didn't go into as much detail, but his message was just as clear. On Submission Radio, when asked about fighting Paddy, he said, "I don't want to know." Then he added, "I don't think the guy's that good, and I fight better when I face an actual good fighter." Basically, both guys said the same thing. Fighting Pimblett doesn't help them. It's not about rankings. It's about risk versus reward. Gaethje doesn't want to be someone's stepping stone. Hooker doesn't want to underperform because he doesn't rate Pimblett highly. Neither wants to risk losing to a guy they think is overhyped. Right now, Pimblett is ranked number 9, 3 spots behind Hooker and 4 behind Gaethje. His UFC record is technically undefeated, but most people point to his controversial win over Jared. Since then, Pimblett's done more interviews than fights. He's a star in the UK, but when it comes to real respect in the lightweight division, he hasn't earned it yet. The top 10 is full of killers, and most don't see Paddy as a real threat. At UFC 317, Pimblett tried to insert himself into the spotlight again, facing off with Topuria in the cage, hinting at wanting a title shot, but that's not happening. Arman Tsarukyan is expected to get the next title fight. He already made weight as backup for Topuria versus Oliveira and was supposed to fight Islam earlier. Pimblett even admitted he might have to go through Gaethje or Hooker to get that shot, but now both have said no. The UFC might offer him someone lower ranked, but let's be honest, it's clear Paddy is stuck. His name sells tickets, but in the cage, he hasn't convinced the top dogs that he's worth their time. What do you think about all this drama? Is the UFC heading for one of its most intense years yet?